Destruction, suffering, deprivation, and even unending grudges, all because of the creation of war. The interests of each member in order to defend their territory, they all do it without considering the impact and damage that occurs. But is this all there is? No other solution than war? And of course, in war, there can be no true winner because both the strong and the weak will only result in destruction and suffering. At least, that's what Nagato has always thought since childhood when he witnessed the fact that his home became a battlefield. A village that became connected to a warring village and only became an innocent victim of the birth of a war. And if we talk about war, of course, this suffering is not only Nagato who is the victim. And of course, the fact is, this Shinobi World War has happened 4 times. But of course, why did they choose the path of war and what caused it? Then, if Naruto has succeeded in creating peace, then that means there will be no more Shinobi wars in the future? And will the birth of the Shinju in this world lead to the 5th Shinobi War? Because of course, they aim to devour Otsutsuki, Boruto, and Kawaki to create a divine tree that will absorb the life that exists in this world. Then, with that goal, does it mean that the 5th Shinobi War will be reborn with opponents who can be said to be not Shinobi? Oh yeah, today is my day. Let's talk about the causes and reasons why Shinobi Wars happen. We will discuss this, starting from the 1st to the 5th Shinobi World War that might happen. But before that, I hope you guys will be happy to give me likes and subs as support. Thanks guys. Yep, the 1st Shinobi World War. As far as information has been revealed and spread, the 1st Shinobi World War occurred not long after the death of a shinobi god named Hashirama. As we know, if Hashirama is not only a shinobi who has great influence in Konoha alone, but in fact, he is also very influential throughout the village and the country of fire. And when Konoha became one of the villages that had greater strength and abilities compared to other villages, of course, this became a trigger for other villages not to be left behind in terms of defense and abilities. And because of that, Hashirama had his initiative to hold a meeting between village leaders to discuss peace. And as a shinobi god, the fact is that Hashirama is a legendary ninja who captured all of Biju. But with his power and wisdom, Hashirama gave some Biju to be distributed to each of the other villages. And Hashirama's purpose in doing so is all for the balance of power and defense for each village. But ironically, after Hashirama was declared dead, each village went to war to gain power from each other. It is true, the First Ninja World War is not explained in detail the cause, but if we collect the data in the Naruto anime and also the manga, of course we will find 2 conclusions. The first is because Hashirama is no longer in this world. Because after all, if Hashirama is still alive, other villages will not dare to act as they please, especially against Konoha. But after Hashirama's death, the war became even more unavoidable. Maybe we don't fully get confirmation about Hashirama's death, but certainly Hashirama's death was triggered by the senjutsu ability he had to regenerate his body, and perhaps the excessive side effects of that ability. This is the most plausible reason if Hashirama died. And the second factor why shinobi warfare can occur, perhaps one thing that is certain, is because of Madara. After Madara had different principles from Hashirama, he sought power by traveling the world to gain strength. In his adventure, Madara visited various villages, and one of them was Iwagakure. In that village, Madara met Onoki and said that all villages around the world must submit to Konoha. Madara declared that there is no alliance, and all villages must obey or submit to Konoha. But if you're asking why Madara declared that to Iwagakure village, it's because the other villages had underestimated Konoha. Moreover, the Kage thought that Hashirama was not as overpowered as rumored. And not only that, with Madara leaving Konoha, the other villages felt that there was no reason to fear and submit to Konoha. And so, Madara did not accept the insult, and he went to all the Kages in all the villages to emphasize that there is no alliance, and all villages must submit to Konoha. So in conclusion, although the First World War is not explained in detail in the manga or anime, what do you think caused the First Shinobi War? Do you agree with the 2 conclusions that I just said? Second Shinobi World War. Maybe for the Second Shinobi War, it didn't involve all the villages, but for sure they fought in a certain area, which is Amegakure, as the village that became the victim of this war. And Konoha is one of the villages involved in this war with several other villages. And the reason why the war happened is that several villages or countries wanted to expand their territory. And as a village that was victimized by being in the center of the war zone, Amegakure was certainly the most affected by the destruction. And of course, the most ironic part of this Second Ninja World War, the creation of Pain and the beginning of the Akatsuki organization. Nagato, Konan, and also Yahiko, they decided to create world peace and end the war and suffering. The Third Shinobi World War. The biggest reason for the war arguably was the lack of agreement between villages. Perhaps this is related to the Second Shinobi World War. When several villages wanted to expand their territory, of course, some of them succeeded and some did not. It's likely that the side that didn't manage to expand their village territory held a grudge and decided to spark another war. And small battles fought on the borders of a few villages. That too eventually became a major war involving all the villages. In addition, the Third Shinobi World War is also the reason why Minato was appointed as a Hokage, and of course the most iconic is Obito, who became a villain. Fourth Ninja World War. Perhaps of all the wars that have ever taken place, the Fourth Shinobi World War was the most memorable. Apart from Naruto as the MC involved in this war, of course there are so many unexpected things and the revelation of some secrets that have been unsolved. Maybe if we talk about the causes and why the Fourth Shinobi World War happened, I'm sure if you all already know the cause. Madara, who previously lost in strength to Hashirama, finally spread and gave birth to a hatred that he passed on to Obito. And as a person who was influenced by Madara, finally made several scenarios from Madara's goals, ranging from creating an Akatsuki organization, collecting Biju, to summoning a 10-tailed monster or Jubi. But of all that, there is one thing that is very proud of in this Fourth Ninja World War. From the First World War to the Third Ninja World War, all the villages used to be enemies. But for this Fourth Ninja World War, finally all the villages united to fight. Actually, maybe the Fourth Shinobi World War is not really appropriate to be called a war. Because if you want to call it a war, there must be clashes, disputes, or conflicting interests between one village and another. But in fact, the Ninja Alliance group even gathered several villages to unite and create a large force to fight Madara and Obito. Although in the end, Madara and Obito were the ones who fell victim to Black Zetsu's true plan. Black Zetsu rewrote Uchiha's relic stone about resurrection, or another way of gaining great power. But in reality, Black Zetsu's goal was to resurrect or realize the plan, Tsukinome Keikaku, or can be referred to as Moon Plan, designed by Kaguya Otsutsuki. More specifically, Black Zetsu aims to gather Jinchuriki and gather power from Biju, and create a situation where all the world's shinobi can come under the control of the Eye of the Moon. In this way, the Black Zetsu wants to restore Lord Kaguya and instill the world in the illusion of peace, albeit in a highly manipulative and destructive manner. Overall, Black Zetsu's goals are centered on achieving absolute power and unifying the ninja world under a single vision controlled by his organization. So that's why the Shinobi World War happened. And if we talk about the Fifth Shinobi World War, will this happen in the Boruto era? As we know, the purpose of Shinju is to implant a divine tree that aims to absorb the life chakra in the world. In other words, it means that this Shinju plans to eliminate or destroy the world and its contents. And not only that, some of the great shinobi have become trees. With the revelation of Shinki becoming trees, it is likely that in the future there will be more and more victims of Shinju. And if there are more and more of them, wouldn't this be the Fifth Shinobi World War? If in the Fourth Shinobi World War the whole village allied against Madara and Obito, is it possible that the Fifth Shinobi World War will be a war against Shinju and Jura as its leader? So far, I'm pretty sure it's going to end with a civil battle between Kawaki and Boruto after Shinju is gone from this world. So what do you think, guys? Do you agree that there will most likely be a Fifth Shinobi World War? I'm really waiting for your opinion. Like and subs if you agree with me. I'm Nim. See you in the next episode. Bye bye, Databayo.